Divine Purpose Unveiled. Every closed door protects you for 40 days of miraculous blessings. Grace stood in the heart of her bustling urban community, surrounded by the vibrant hum of activity that flowed like the Spirit through a holy gathering. The colors of stained glass danced in the sunlight as church bells rang, echoing a call to faith that lifted hearts high. It seemed life was overflowing with blessings, until that fateful day when the weight of unexpected news crashed down upon her. Like a thunderstorm, she had lost her job. Her heart, once buoyed by purpose, now trembled under the pressure of unmet bills and uncertainty. Each door she knocked on for employment only slammed shut, echoing her doubts and fears. "Am I not worthy, Lord?" she whispered into the silence of her modest home. The very fabric of her spirit began to unravel, leaving her grappling for glimpses of God's plan in a web woven with despair. Drowning in despair, she gathered her children, their innocent hearts trusting and unfaltering. "Let us pray," she said, her voice trembling. They kneeled together, candles flickering softly, and called upon St. Jude, their patron saint of hopeless cases. "Help us, St. Jude, guide us through the storm." Their voices melded, mingling with the wafting scent of incense from the church nearby as they poured out their needs and fears. Suddenly, the room felt alive, charged with a palpable energy that brushed against them like a warm embrace. Just then, a miracle unfolded. A neighbor, drawn by the fervor of their prayers, appeared at the door with an unexpected basket of groceries. "I felt moved to bring this," she whispered, her eyes gleaming with compassion. Grace felt a spark of hope ignite within her. It was then that she saw that her plight had touched the community, like ripples in a pond stirring many hearts alike. As weeks passed, Grace noticed how her faith had seeped into the lives of those around her. A wise pastor came to her side, offering encouragement and support, reminding her that God's hand was guiding her through these trials. Grace sat in the candlelit church one Friday night. The congregation gathered around, voices raised in harmonies of praise. The atmosphere shimmered with divine mystery, hearts united in prayer. Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Amidst the fervent prayers, Grace felt a shift, a newfound vision unveiled. Each closed door began to reveal itself as a protective measure from God, preparing her for something extraordinary. Her heart whispered of imminent blessings, but trials still loomed, testing her resolve. Would her faith remain steadfast when shadows crept in? Grace's eyes opened, and she began to see the miraculous provisions flow gently into her life, like a river carving through stubborn stone. Neighbors pooled resources, offering not just material help but spiritual guidance. Her family's struggles crystallized into a testimony of resilience, awakening the community's collective spirit. But even as this transformation unfolded, lingering questions remained. What would these closing doors ultimately lead to? Might they guide Grace into the light of her true purpose? Divine mystery surrounded her, leaving her at the edge of something profound, setting the stage for 40 days of miracles and blessings. What awaited beyond this moment? The answers beckoned, shrouded in sacred anticipation. The days flowed like a sacred rhythm, each morning bringing new grace. In those still moments just after dawn, Grace would sit on her porch, cradling a hot cup of tea. She would watch as her children laughed and played, their spirits unbroken by the weight of the world's troubles. It was a simple scene, yet within it lay the promise of God's unending love. With every shared giggle and every whispered prayer, her home shimmered with renewed hope. As she sipped her tea, memories of all the closed doors began to shift in her mind. They were no longer symbols of defeat but markers of divine protection. "Lord, what would you have me do?" she pondered aloud, watching a butterfly dance by. Its delicate wings glistened in the light, a gentle reminder of transformation and new beginnings. One Sunday, as the sun poured through the misty clouds, Grace not only attended church but also found herself stepping up to share her journey. The church was alive that day, filled with the warmth of fellowship and love. Many gathered to hear her testimony, and as she expressed her struggles and the miracles she had experienced, a profound peace settled over the congregation. Their eyes sparkled with understanding, and it warmed Grace's heart to see her story resonate with so many. Through every trial, I felt God's gentle hand guiding me, she declared, her voice trembling with emotion. Every closed door was not a rejection but a redirection. He is prepared to do something new. Her words hung in the air like incense, filling the hearts of everyone present. An elderly woman in the front row nodded, tears glistening in her eyes. "Thank you for sharing that, dear," she whispered. "You remind us all that God is always working, even when we can't see it." With each passing week, the community's support grew stronger. A marvelous initiative was started, a neighborhood job fair to uplift those struggling like her. Grace felt the weight of purpose settle comfortably upon her shoulders as she joined hands with her neighbors. Together, they reached out to the businesses around them, sharing their stories to inspire a renewed connection. Days turned into weeks, and the job fair approached. It was a crossroads of opportunities, a testament to the community's faith that they could rise together. Grace woke early that morning, excitement dancing in her heart. As she prepared her children for the day, her mind drifted to how much had changed, a tapestry of resilience woven through prayer, action, and divine guidance. The fair was a vibrant display of hope. Tables adorned with flyers and resumes dotted the school gymnasium, and laughter filled the air as people came together. Grace felt a surge of gratitude. This was far more than just finding jobs. It was about healing not just for her, but for everyone who shared a sweet exchange of stories, laughter, and compassion. As evening approached, she clasped her hands tightly. Every blessing, every challenge faced lit a pathway to something greater than herself. Yet, within her heart, a deeper question swirled. What was this extraordinary purpose that awaited her? A voice within urged her onward. "It feels like something is about to change," she mused, glancing upwards as the sun dipped low on the horizon. The colors painted a picture of promise and anticipation. Would her journey lead her to the miraculous fullness that had been promised? The air was thick with possibility, drawing her into a deeper mystery. Grace took a deep breath, hope swelling in her chest. And as night began to fall, she opened her heart wider. What lay behind the next closed door? She wondered, embracing the uncertainty with an open spirit, ready for whatever God had in store. What miracle awaited as she approached the answer to her unanswered prayers? No one could guess the wonders that lay ahead, and they were just a whisper away. The sun rose on the day of the job fair, golden rays spilling across the landscape like a blessing from heaven. Grace stood by her window, watching her children bound with excitement. Their joy mirrored the vibrant colors of the day outside. It was a new horizon, and she felt something significant fluttering in the air. The day unfolded with a sense of divine orchestration. Grace arrived at the school gymnasium filled with hope, a heart open wide. Tables were brimming with job opportunities, each one like a promise waiting to be claimed. As she mingled with her neighbors, she could feel their shared anticipation. They were all here for one purpose: to rise together. "Isn't this wonderful?" one neighbor, Mark, said as he adjusted his tie, his eagerness palpable. "I can almost sense God's South presence in this place." "Absolutely," Grace replied, touched by his enthusiasm. "These connections are vital, not just for jobs but for our spirits." Throughout the day, stories of resilience filtered through the space. Laughter filled the air along with echoes of hope, each shared moment planting seeds for new beginnings. Grace watched as people exchanged not only resumes but also pieces of their hearts. With each handshake, she could sense a wave of healing washing over the community. Yet, even amidst the festivities, a whisper persisted in Grace's heart. "What else, Lord?" The question flowed like a river, reminding her to stay attentive. This fair was a step towards something bigger, a chapter in a divine narrative unfolding as evening descended. The fair began to wind down. The laughter turned into murmured gratitude, and the lights dimmed into a soft glow. Grace gathered with a small group near the stage, where she saw Elder Margaret, the woman who had cried tears of joy during her testimony weeks before. "God has opened doors today, hasn't he?" Elder Margaret spoke, her voice rich with emotion. "Yes, it feels like the beginning of many miracles," Grace responded, her heart swelling with unity. "Then let us pray together," suggested another neighbor, Jenna, clasping her hands together. They formed a small circle, joining in heartfelt prayer. Grace closed her eyes and felt the weight of the day lift. With each word lifted up, a burden melted away. Here, in this moment, she sensed God's way unfolding even further. Suddenly, a flutter drew her attention. A dove appeared, gliding gracefully into the gymnasium. It landed softly on the stage, an unexpected guest. Gasps peppered the air. Grace felt a stirring in her soul, a reminder that the Holy Spirit was alive and moving among them. "Look at that," someone whispered. "It's a sign, surely." As they marveled, Grace's spirit ignited. "It is indeed a sign," she declared, her voice ringing with a newfound boldness. "It reminds us that each moment brings hope and direction. We may not see the full plan yet, but today is proof that God is working. Hope is always on the horizon." The crowd echoed her words, their hearts igniting with renewed faith. But still, the question lingered at the back of Grace's mind. What was the next door she was meant to open? Just as her thoughts began to spiral, the lights twinkled mysteriously, momentarily casting silhouettes all around. In that sacred stillness, a wave of anticipation surged through Grace. She knew she was standing at the edge of something larger than herself. The mysteries of God were calling her, and the adventure was only beginning. What revelation lay on the path just ahead? As she felt a shift in the air, she could not help but wonder what divine surprises still awaited her in the days to come. The next morning bathed the town in a fresh light, reflecting the spirits renewed from the previous day. Grace awoke with a deeper understanding that she was not just an observer of God's work. She was a participant in His grand design. She recalled how the dove's gentle arrival seemed like a nudge from heaven, a reminder to trust the path laid before her. As she stepped outside, the crisp air filled her lungs, awakening her senses to the beauty around her. There was something about today that felt charged with possibility. The leaves danced in the breeze, whispering secrets of encouragement that stirred her heart. She felt a gentle voice within her, urging her to explore and seek. With purpose in her stride, Grace decided to visit the local community center. She had always been drawn to the warmth of the place, how it thrived with laughter and unity. Perhaps there was more there for her, waiting to be discovered. As she entered, the familiar scent of coffee and baked goods greeted her like an old friend. The walls were adorned with pictures of events past, celebrations of togetherness. She could hear the chatter of neighbors as they shared stories and laughter. It felt like family, a warmth that enveloped her in hope. "Grace, so good to see you," a voice broke her thoughts. It was Annie, the woman who led the youth group. She had a light in her eyes, as if she had just uncovered a treasure. "Have you heard about the upcoming community outreach project? We're collecting donations and organizing events for those in need. I'd love your help." Grace's heart swelled at the invitation. Serving others was woven into the very fabric of her being. "I'd be thrilled to help. What can I do?" Annie beamed, her excitement infectious. "We have a planning meeting tonight. We need fresh ideas and loving hands. Plus, we want to create an atmosphere where everyone feels seen and valued. You have such a gift for connecting people." The words wrapped around Grace like a warm blanket. It felt like a divine alignment. This was the outlet she had been searching for. This project could be the door of purpose she was meant to walk through. Yet, as the day unfolded, Grace noticed a troubling thought creeping in. What if she stumbled? What if her efforts flopped? In moments of quiet, she prayed for clarity and courage. Why did doubt often shadow true aspirations? That evening, at the meeting, she shared her ideas. The room buzzed with excitement, and Grace felt a sense of belonging wash over her. As each person contributed their talents, Grace realized it wasn't just about the success of the project but the collective spirit igniting among them. Every closed door, Annie spoke passionately, is simply God preparing us for his next miracle, a lesson we've learned time and again. The words resonated deeply within Grace. In the days that followed, she stepped further into this newfound role, learning quicker than she thought possible. Each challenge became an opportunity, each small blessing a reminder to keep her eyes on the divine orchestration at play. One evening, as she prepared a speech for the upcoming outreach event, a thought popped into her heart. What if this opportunity led not just to serving others, but also to personal breakthroughs? With joy sparkling in her heart, she began to write, feeling her spirit soar in anticipation. But just as revelations cascaded, doubt also lingered. Was she truly ready to embrace this path? As Grace embarked on this journey of community connection and service, what hidden blessings awaited her? Could she see past her own uncertainties and trust in God's perfect plan? The horizon brimmed with possibilities, but beyond it, the question remained. What might God be calling her to discover about herself next? As dawn broke once more, the sun stretched its golden fingers across the landscape, casting a heavenly glow. Grace awoke filled with a sense of hope and rest, ready to embrace the day's adventures. Today was different. It felt electric, charged with divine expectation. She could still hear Annie's inspiring words echoing in her thoughts, reminding her of the promise waiting to be fulfilled. Drawing in a deep breath, she stood before her window and gazed at the vibrant colors of the blossoms outside. Each petal seemed to celebrate goddess creativity, teaching her that life, like flowers, unfolded in his perfect time. Gratitude blossomed within her, grounding her in a present moment filled with divine possibilities. At the community center later that day, a spirit of excitement permeated the air. Grace was welcomed with warm smiles, and the buzz of voices animated the room. She was proud to see the commitment of her neighbors to support those in need. It was more than just an outreach project. It was a tapestry of compassion woven from their collective hearts. Grace, come here. I need your input. Annie called out, her energy infectious. They huddled around a table covered in plans, including sketches of event layouts and lists of supplies. Together they brainstormed ways to make the outreach event special. Every idea was met with enthusiasm, a testimony to the spirit of community that ignited their efforts. As ideas flourished, Grace felt a transformation in her heart. The doubts that clouded her spirit began to lift, revealing an unwavering peace. Here, surrounded by kindred souls, she discovered her place. She was not just a participant but a catalyst for change, a conduit of love intended to flow freely. Let us make sure everyone has a voice, she suggested, thinking of those who often went unnoticed. We could have a little box where people can write down their needs or ideas. It's a way to honor everyone's experience. Annie clapped her hands together in delight. That's brilliant. Everyone deserves to be heard and uplifted. They spent hours putting plans into motion, and each passing minute became a lesson in teamwork and divine alignment. Grace realized that every moment touched by faith and vulnerability was valuable, each small act contributing to something greater than themselves. It echoed in her heart. They were sowing seeds of hope, and in time would reap a harvest of joy. Once the meeting concluded, Grace lingered, feeling the warmth pulsing in the room long after others had left. She turned her attention to the empty boxes nearby, left behind from the organization process. She picked one up and thought about the many stories of those they were serving. Would their hopes and dreams fit inside? As she placed it on the table, she felt a nudge within her. This wasn't just about providing a service. It was an invitation to allow God to work through her, to touch lives in ways she couldn't yet see. The road ahead might be daunting, but Grace held on to her faith like a shield. She was reminded of the truth that reassured her in moments of doubt. Her Creator equipped her for every journey He called her to undertake. As she turned to leave, she noticed the sun setting, casting a magnificent glow over the community center. An inner voice whispered, "Are you ready to allow every closed door in your life to open this next chapter? What heights might God take her to?" and what miracles were waiting just beyond the horizon. The path ahead shimmered, and Grace sensed the promise of transformation lingering in the air. The following morning, Grace awoke once again, the light of day spilling into her room like a gentle promise. She felt a renewed sense of purpose as she brewed her coffee, the aroma wrapping around her like a warm embrace. The words from the previous day echoed within her like a sacred hymn. Every closed door had a reason, and she was beginning to comprehend its melody. Driven by an inner fire, she made her way to the community center. The air was alive with energy, vibrant and electric, as volunteers gathered to prepare for the outreach event. A sense of expectation hung in the room, whispering of possibilities not yet realized. Grace, perfect timing. Annie chimed, her face aglow with excitement. We're putting the finishing touches on everything. Come and help us bring our vision to life. They jumped into action, arranging tables, unpacking colorful supplies, and hanging bright banners that danced with hope. Grace's heart swelled with joy as she witnessed everyone working together. Each laugh, each shared glance, was a thread weaving a tapestry of unity. Among the preparations, a moment occurred that felt both mundane and miraculous. A young girl named Mia, shy and small, lingered at the door. Her eyes flickered with apprehension, yet she held a bright yellow notepad clutched tightly in her hands. Grace noticed her and felt a gentle tug at her heart. This was Goddess' nudge. Hey there, what's your name? Grace knelt down, her voice soft like a tender whisper. Mia, the girl replied, a hint of shyness mixed with curiosity. What's in that notepad? Grace asked, intrigued. Mia's face lit up for a second. Then her expression turned uncertain. I wrote down some ideas for the event. I thought maybe they could help. With a gentle smile, Grace extended her hand, inviting Mia to share. Oh, I'm sure they will. We need every brilliant thought we can get. Why don't you show me? The girl stepped closer, her small voice trembling yet determined. I think we should have a drawing table for kids, like a place to create art. It would be fun and everyone could join. Grace beamed at Mia, her heart bursting with respect for this little soulless insight. That's a wonderful idea. Art can heal and inspire. Let us make it happen. As they rushed to organize the drawing table, the simple act of listening crystallized a powerful truth within Grace. Every voice mattered. Every idea, no matter how small, contributed to the wondrous tapestry. The pulse of goddess love manifested through their collective efforts, painting a picture of community built on mutual respect. In that moment, as creativity flowed and laughter erupted, Grace could feel divine energy surrounding them. It felt as if the very walls of the community center were twinkling, infused with the holy assurance of purpose. Yet, amidst the joy, a question lingered: what more was God preparing to reveal? By the time evening approached, the center buzzed like a hive. Neighbors trickled in, ready to contribute their love and energy. The air crackled with excitement, and Grace sensed a shift. Something was about to unfold. As she looked around at the faces filled with hope, she noticed something new brewing inside her. A surge of faith enkindled her spirit, pulsing with the promise of miracles. Could it be that over these next 40 days, every distance faced would converge into an opportunity for divine blessings? But just then, an unexpected figure appeared at the doorway, a man Grace didn't recognize, holding a cardboard box. Amidst the joyful chaos, he stood out like a beacon. What revelation could he bring? Was he another closed door awaiting to be opened? Grace felt her heart quicken. The divine adventure was just beginning. As the man stepped into the community center, the vibrant buzz of excitement momentarily faded, replaced by a collective curiosity. Grace felt a pull, as if an unseen thread connected her to him. His weathered face held stories untold, and his eyes shimmered with a peculiar light. Good evening, everyone, he said, his voice steady and warm. I'm Jonah. I have something special for you all. He opened the box, revealing an assortment of simple items: crayons, colored paper, and small building blocks. The sight ignited a wave of enthusiasm among the children clustered nearby. Grace watched as Mia's eyes widened in delight, recognizing the potential for creativity blooming before them. Each of these items comes with a story, Jonah continued, leaning in slightly as if sharing a sacred secret. Not just for drawing or building, but for creating a world where love is the foundation. His words resonated deeply with Grace. She felt a stirring in her spirit, as if she were witnessing a divine moment woven into the fabric of the evening's event. Jonah glanced around, his gaze landing on Mia. "Young lady, do you have an idea for what you can create with these?" Mia, her confidence buoyed by the attention, stepped forward. "Yes. We can build a place where everyone feels welcome. We can call it the Hope Village." Grace's heart swelled at Mia's imagination, mirroring the vision God was painting through the evening. The collective breath of anticipation filled the air, inspiring everyone to spring into action. With Jonah guiding them, they began pulling out supplies, laughter and chatter melding into a joyful symphony. Grace found herself among a group of eager children, her hands moving instinctively among vibrant colors. As they crafted, she felt each moment resonate deeper, as though they were creating not just art, but community, a family bound by faith, heart, and purpose. Jonah wandered through the gathering, offering gentle encouragement. "You see, it's not just what we make, but how we make it. Together, every stroke of creativity is a testament to our love, and every shared moment is a glimpse into God's kingdom." His words hung in the air like incense, thick with truth. Grace noticed everyone was engaged, no one was left out. Adults joined the children, crafting beside them, smiles lighting their faces. It flashed a reminder of innocence and togetherness that echoed the heart of her calling. Yet, just as joy intensified, she felt a shadow flit across her mind. What had brought this man to them? The suddenness of his appearance raised her curiosity. Was he merely a vessel of goodwill, or was there an unseen purpose at play? Why this gathering? Grace pondered as she sculpted with joy around her. What deeper mission are we aligning with? In the back of her mind, a still small voice whispered, guiding her in prayer. She could almost hear the Holy Spirit responding, wrapping her in warmth and light. God was up to something beautiful, and she was right in the center of it as the first stars began to twinkle outside, illuminating the evening sky. Grace caught Jonah's eye once again. There was wisdom in his gaze. He nodded knowingly, as if he understood the turbulence of thoughts in her heart. Just then, a child squealed with delight, drawing them all back into the moment. Yet a question lingered, filling the air with expectation. What divine encounter awaited them next? Could this man truly lead them to a revelation that would illuminate their journey together? Grace felt a surge of faith. The adventure was unfolding, and she could only wonder what miracles lay hidden just around the corner. As the room filled with laughter and excitement, Jonah began moving among the tables. His presence felt like a comforting breeze. Each child was immersed in creating their vision of Hope Village. Grace observed how each piece they pieced together reflected not only their desires, but also a deeper yearning for connection. She felt blessed to witness this sacred unfolding. "Remember, every creation is a prayer," Jonah said, his voice rising above the joyful noise. "When you build with love, you are bringing his kingdom closer." Grace's heart swelled with a sense of purpose as she watched Mia carefully arrange her building blocks. It was as if the child understood that in every small act of creation, they were echoing God's love. Mia called out instructions, her laughter ringing out like chimes. "Let us make the welcome sign first. It will have hearts and flowers." The children cheered, excitement bubbling over like a fountain. Grace joined in, her hands moving deftly as she created vibrant flowers from the colored paper, while the others crafted hearts with bright crayons. With every stroke, she felt an inexplicable peace enveloping her heart, a gentle reminder that love was indeed the foundation upon which they were building. Yet, beneath the surface joy, Grace sensed a deep current of curiosity. There was something sacred that Jonah was offering, a revelation that stretched beyond mere craft. She couldn't shake the feeling that Jonah knew more than he let on. His gentle guidance was not a chance occurrence but part of some greater plan ordained by the divine. While they worked, Grace felt a gentle tug on her sleeve. It was a little girl with wide, innocent eyes. "Miss Grace, can we use glitter on our village?" she asked, her voice hopeful. "Absolutely. Glitter can make it shine even brighter," Grace responded, her spirit lifting at the thought as they sprinkled glitter onto the structures. It caught the light, transforming their small creations into twinkling reflections of hope. It was awe-inspiring. Simple materials birthed beauty through their collective spirit. "Every tiny sparkle is a reminder," Jonah said thoughtfully, "that even the smallest act of kindness can illuminate the darkest places." There was a heaviness in his words, yet they struck a chord within Grace's heart. Her thoughts drifted. What darkness are we shining light upon? She pondered. Could it be the troubles that lay ahead for their community? For each individual present? With that thought, a stillness fell over her. She gathered the courage to speak. "Jonah, what inspired you to bring all this to us tonight? What's your vision for Hope Village?" The room paused, curiosity sparking between them all. Jonah's eyes sparkled like the stars outside, reflecting a wisdom that stirred Grace's soul. "There's a need to remember that each of us carries a light from God," he replied gently. "Hope Village is meant to remind us of the love we share and the strength we find when we come together." Those words struck Grace deeply. Hope Village wasn't just a construction of blocks, but a living testament of their faith, a place woven with heartstrings where their spirits linked as one in Christ's love. As the night deepened, an unusual stillness settled over them, inviting contemplation. Grace could see in her fellow builders the desire for something greater, something divine amid their ordinary lives. And there it was. A ripple of anticipation coursed through the air as Jonah took center stage once more, ready to unveil the next profound layer of their unfolding journey. "What happens when love meets purpose?" he asked. "What miracles await those willing to believe?" As Grace leaned in, her heart fluttered with newfound excitement. What sacred truths would emerge next? What divine encounters awaited them in the heart of Hope Village? As Jonah's words hung in the air, an electric charge filled the room. Grace could feel the heartbeat of the moment resonate within her. Each child looked up at Jonah, their faces lit with a mix of curiosity and hope. It was as if the very walls of the room were leaning in, eager to hear what he had to say next. "We often wonder about our purpose, don't we?" Jonah continued, his eyes scanning the faces surrounding the table. "We chase after the things we think will fulfill us, only to find that true joy comes from love for each other and for God. But understanding our purpose often requires us to wait, to listen, to trust." A hush fell over the group. The sound of glitter now lay like a soft blanket on the tables, shimmering under the warm light. Jonah stepped closer. "What if I told you that sometimes, when doors close in our lives, those moments are blessings in disguise? That every no can lead us to a more perfect yes?" Grace felt a soft thump in her heart. It resonated with something deep within her. She remembered moments from her own life when she had faced disappointment, encounters that had sparked doubt. Yet here was Jonah, holding space for those memories and transforming them into something uplifting. "Think of the Israelites," Jonah said, weaving a biblical story into the fabric of the night. 40 years in the wilderness may have seemed like a punishment, but it was a period of preparation. It taught them to rely on God's provision, to trust in His timing. Their wandering was a necessary journey to the promised land. Jonah paused, allowing the weight of his words to settle in the hearts of the children and adults alike. Grace observed Mia, her wide eyes dancing with the reflections of the glitter. There was an opportunity stirring, a hidden lesson in every challenge. "Just like the Israelites, we are sometimes called to wander before we arrive at our destination," Jonah continued. "Remember, every step you take is part of a larger design. Your dreams, your values, your spiritual gifts, they are all intertwined in God's plan. Don't rush to open doors that may not be meant for you yet." As Jonah spoke, Grace glanced around and saw nods of understanding. Children whispered among themselves while parents shared knowing glances. Hearts began to open wider, ready to embrace the mysteries ahead. Then Jonah's voice lifted, infused with passion. "Miracles await those who remain faithful during the waiting. Trust that every closed door is purposefully placed. Can you see the blessing in the waiting?" Can you anticipate the joy to come? Suddenly, there was a ripple of excitement, a wave of collective understanding. Grace felt it wash over them all, a realization that waiting was not just an obstacle. It could be a deeply transformative period filled with potential. We are called to shine our lights, Jonah concluded. Even when it seems there's no path forward, we must cultivate the fruit of the Spirit within us. Love, joy, peace, let these flourish in moments of stillness. Grace felt the urge to speak, to share her own thoughts, her own burdens. Yet, as she opened her mouth, a sense of reverence fell over the room. It was sacred ground they were standing on, a testament of faith being built, layer upon shimmering layer as the night lingered. A gentle breeze moved through the windows, brushing past them all, filling the spaces between their hearts with divine whispers. What if we dared to believe? What if, in our waiting, we found the strength to support each other? What miracles could blossom from our shared faith? As Grace contemplated the possibilities, she could feel new beginnings stirring, threads of hope weaving together like the fabric of Hope Village itself. And then, amid the glimmering reflections and contemplative silence, Jonah leaned in closer, his voice steady and inviting. Are you ready to explore the wonders that God has stored for us in this journey? Are you willing to wait with anticipation for His divine purpose to unfold? Grace's heart raced. What awaited them in the depths of faith? What revelations would guide them home? It felt as if the very fabric of their night was about to change. The following morning, Grace woke to the soft rays of sunlight spilling into her home, illuminating thoughts of possibilities. The joy from the night before lingered in her heart, reminding her that this was the threshold of something magnificent. She reflected on Jonah's words, feeling a renewed connection to her community and the divine purpose unfolding within it. Today, I will cultivate hope, she declared, her heart swelling with gratitude. Her children's laughter rang out, reminding her of the innocence and wonder that lay within family. She cradled that warmth, ready to embrace whatever God had planned. The community center was buzzing with anticipation, preparing for the outreach event. As she stepped inside, she felt the spirit of love hovering in the air, a divine current flowing through everyone gathered. Grace, we need your creative mind, Annie called out as she approached, her infectious enthusiasm sparking light in the room. Grace's spirit soared. Together, they were building not just Hope Village, but a community linked in purpose and passion. The hours passed in a flash, filled with laughter, planning, and vibrant discussions. Grace caught sight of Mia, surrounded by children, leading them as they constructed colorful paper models of Hope Village. When she joined them, Mia looked up, her eyes alight with a vision. With your help, Miss Grace, we can make it the most welcoming place ever. Yes, we will, Grace assured her. Each creation adds to the magic of our village. With that, they worked side by side. Each stroke represented a piece of their collective spirit. As the day peaked, Jonah arrived with mirth. Good afternoon, friends. Can you feel the excitement? He bore more supplies, and before long, he gathered everyone, speaking as if he were sharing ancient secrets. Today is a shift. Together, we're building something beyond mere blocks. We're creating a tapestry of our hearts. A hush fell over the crowd. Grace watched as people leaned in, absorbing Jonah's message. You see, he continued, this isn't merely about giving to others. It's about discovering who we are together. In this moment, we are part of a beautiful narrative, a story imprinted by God Himself. Grace felt a profound stirring within her, a sense of purpose igniting brighter. Her heart swelled in the collective presence, and as they joined hands in prayer, she sensed the sacred unity enveloping them. Lord, bless this village we're creating, she whispered, tears of reverence glimmering in her eyes. May it be a beacon of hope and healing. The prayer was met with earnest amens and tears of joy. Grace opened her eyes slowly, looking around at the faces reflecting faith, love, and purpose. This was community. This was God at work. As evening crept in, the community gathered for the outreach event. Hope Village unveiled its treasures, children's crafts, foods, and laughter filled the space. Grace stood back in awe, watching the doors of abundance swing wide open. So many were embraced, each interaction a reminder that Goddess blessings had been cultivated through every closed door. Look, Jonah pointed to the children. They're the future of Hope Village, shaping their world with creativity and love. It was powerful to witness this connection. Neighbors shared stories, gratitude danced in the air, and emotions surged like waves crashing against the shore. Grace found herself surrounded by grateful faces, her heart humming with joy. "Miss Grace, thank you for making this possible," a neighbor exclaimed, squeezing her hand. "Remember," Grace said softly, "we are blessed to be a blessing." The night felt electric, alive with testimony as Grace saw how every trial had been a lesson, every closed door a guide to this moment. As the evening drew to a close, Jonah stepped up once more, a captivating light radiating from him. "Tonight we've tasted miracles," he began. "Remember, we're not just creating a village. We're creating a home for our hearts, a sanctuary for each soul here." A wave of peace washed over Grace as revelations unfolded that her story wasn't just her own, but was interwoven with everyone around her. This journey had not only led her to purpose, it had invited everyone else in, thriving together in faith as the stars lit up the night sky. Grace felt Goddess' presence wrap around her like a blanket. She closed her eyes momentarily, and a rush of clarity flooded through her. Every closed door was a lesson to prepare me for moments like these. With renewed vigor, she looked around and saw souls connecting, lives changing from powerful love ignited among them. "Let us keep building," Jonah encouraged, turning to face the crowd. "Each of us carries a light. Together, we will shine, teaching others the beauty of faith intertwined." The response was thunderous. Cheers erupted from the gathering. In that instant, Grace realized the promise of 40 days had begun, full of divine encounters waiting to unfold with every step they took forward as they embraced their mission. Her heart sang with gratitude for the journey that had brought them to this moment, the journey through the wilderness toward the promised land. Every trial she faced was now a crown of glory adorning her head, a testimony of faith, hope, and love. With vibrant anticipation, she knew the adventure was only beginning. Now, dear friends, do not let this moment pass. You need to subscribe now to the channel to not miss the next exclusive faith stories that will inspire your journey. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and keep these divine messages reaching hearts around the world. And don't wait even one more second to share this powerful testimony with at least 5 friends who need to see this manifestation of hope. Comment below with your thoughts and reactions about this ending. Your voice matters in the community we are building together.